Hello. Yes.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay,
See, when you speak in the lines go
yeah,
up.
perfect. Take 10.
Take 10.
We've tried this many times. About 7 times.
Oh, is this real now?
Oh, is it real? What should we talk about?
Why don't we just ask each other questions?
Okay, great.
No.
You can start.
No, why is it always me? Okay, what's true for you right now?
Because with these videos, we've tried so many times and there was either a tech issue or a mic issue or the camera timed out. And when we first felt inspired to do it, we were feeling so good. It felt like so much clarity and synchronicities guiding us to, share what we're moving through right now, what's going on in the world, what's going on internally. And we were having all these conversations kind of nonstop just throughout the day, downloading so many different insights. And it was just like, oh, we should have recorded that, or oh my gosh, because these felt like messages not just for us, but for the world, because we're all collectively going through a massive purge and awakening. So at the time, it just felt like pure inspiration and joy to capture just an extension of what we're naturally doing already. We felt so energized and excited, but then for some reason, every time we tried to record, and we did recorded a full hour and the audio cut off, or a full hour and the camera turned off at 30 minutes. So to me, for me, I look at the world as if everything happens for a reason, or there's a message you can glean, and it's up to you to you can assign any meaning you want to anything, and there could be like 20 different types of meanings you can choose from, or more, infinite. But for me, the way I interpreted it was, as much as we were excited to do these videos, there's also a very deep layer of fear around sharing these messages, being seen, being misunderstood, being put in a box. And that fear, or the relief when we found out the video didn't work, was there, which showed me part of us was creating this unreadiness to share, because we're putting so much pressure on it. But it's also, there's pressure because it's so exciting and it feels like part of our path and what we're meant to be doing. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I guess, in relation to that, it's, as you said, there's so many meanings that we can put to our experiences in life and what we take from them. We can choose to take something very negative, or we can choose to take something neutral, or we can choose to take something extremely positive. So it's really up to us what we take and then what we create from that situation. And I think it was it is, or has been, definitely a challenging one, because when we first realized we wanted to do videos was a little while ago, but when we first came into the energy, yes, we're doing it. We went and got the camera. Everything was flowing so well. Yeah. Energetically, we felt very in strong energy coming out, and we just wanted to share that because there was so much coming through, and the energy and the communication of that was just felt so right. And we feel that's important too. So to communicate what we say verbally, but with the energy behind it. So we had this amazing energy. This was like 2 months ago, and leading up to that, we had quite strong energy, a lot of talking of everything that's going on in the world, and just really wanted to share it. And as Asmi said, we came to all these challenges, and most of them were technical, and then once the technical issues kind of subsided around we had audio problems, we had camera problems, we had to go and get new audio devices. We had to take the camera back and get another one that can record longer than 30 minutes. And, they're the technicalities.
For novices.
We don't know what we're doing. So we're trying to work that out to get to this point of where we can share what we want to share, and just share it for people, whoever it resonates with, and hopefully it will help them, because, sharing is how we all grow. But I think, what Ashmi said is also true for me. Like anything, it can have so many layers of meaning, and I think we both look at it as a growth kind of thing for us. Like, how do we move through this? Why are we in this denser energy? So yeah,
what's the lesson?
Yeah, what's the lesson? And I think for me, I got many things. Like, yes, there was and still is a lot of fear in that, I've got such a wide spectrum of friends and people that I know, and they all have this different perspective of you, and it's hard enough getting a holistic perspective of yourself and inner standing of yourself and inner knowing. But then you've got everyone that perceives you in a certain way, and when with what we want to share and what we want to bring to the world, a lot of the percentage of people that we know don't see this side of us, don't have any connection with this in their life, not with us in what I'm talking about, but many of the topics and things that we want to talk about. So I guess, there's fear on how we go being perceived by some people in a light, and then them seeing this side of us, and then how their perspective will change and their acceptance of us and their connection with us. We know the psychological, emotional, mechanical kind of, not mechanical, probably not the right, but the logical workings of this, of moving through it, and if someone doesn't accept us, and if their perception of us changes, and if they move out of our life, kind of, we know that's part of the process, but it still doesn't take the fear of that away, and it still doesn't absolve that. It's just a moving through that. And it's not that we weren't trying to move through it. We were stepping into that. It's just the universe,
the fear is very deep.
The fear is deep, and there's the divinity of it all, and what's meant to come out, and when we're meant to share, and what we also might have to look deeper into ourselves about before just having this free ride and everything just flowing. We have to go into that, and we are. And I think it's been from the technical issues, we've then gone into like a denser energy within ourselves, where we're just trying to free this up, and we're looking at it from many different ways, where we're trying to just be silent with it, just give love to it, give space, and help it move through with many different ways, and bring that awareness to it. So it's not something that's just deep rooted and can't be allowed to be and accepted and loved and move through. So
and ultimately we know you just show up as you are. Like you don't have to, and in the world we're moving towards, you don't have to be anything but you and be true to how you're feeling and being in the moment. It's not about putting on a mask or trying to be extra happy or energized. We're just going to show up as we are, and you'll get a different version of us every time, just as we're all growing and evolving. And also, of course, we know the fear is there, and it's very real with anyone moving into their purpose or trying to step into a newer version of themselves, one that is aligned with their heart. But we also conceptually know none of this is for anyone else, or it's not about who listens or how other people's judgment, or it's not about what people think of us. We're doing it for ourselves because it is our highest joy. It brings out, our kind of awe and wonder for life and the universe, because as we speak, all of this is unplanned, unscripted. As we speak, we're channeling aha moments and insights and new perspectives in this infinite, multidimensional universe, and that's the most exciting thing. It's the same reason why I love writing, because I feel like it is a communication with my soul or my heart or my higher self. So that's why we love it, and we just want to share whatever is coming up.
Yep. Yeah, I think for us, talking it and speaking it and even being more vulnerable with it to, right now it's just a camera, but in sharing it further, becoming vulnerable with it is what the world needs, because there is strength in vulnerability. There's truth in vulnerability, and we want to be connecting with that inner truth. And like Ashmi said, we're doing this for ourselves, not for selfish reasons, but to connect deeper with ourselves, to connect with our inner knowing, and to have that energy moving through us to be able to share it with others. And we want it to be authentic, because, the world's at a point where I think everyone's tired of the mask, and I don't mean the mask to protect your face, but the mask that we have to wear to be moving in this world. This is not true to who we are. It's not authentic to who we are. We want to be able to move. We want to, and we want everyone in the world to be able to move with the freedom of their own being and the truth of their own being. No one should be afraid to just be connected with who they are and sharing who they are, and giving space to that for everyone. In the world that we've lived in, that's very mind-based, reactive, judgmental, it crushes people's energy. It's not about lifting people up. It's about pushing people down so often. Not all the time, but it is a lot of the time. So, because it's just, we're thinking about it. So how can we be with it? How can we really enjoy it? How can we share energy in an authentic way when it's all about thinking about it and judging it and looking smart and coming back with something? So, right now we're freeing up our energy to share authentically as we can, and we want to show up however we are and share our truth of where we're at and with what we're learning and what we're going through, because we hope it helps others, or even just gives a point of relation to others where they can relate to us, and we can all start to understand and all start to feel that we're not all alone in this world. We're not all alone. It's all one. Break up alone and make it all one, because that's the truth. We're all one. And the more we tap into that in ourselves, the more we can feel it with others, So that's part of what we're trying to bring to the world, and that we want to share with the world, and we want to feel with everyone. Yeah. But we have to be vulnerable to feel that, because that's where our strength lies. That's where our truth lies.
And kind of what's happening in the world right now, high level, I would say everyone is being called to align with their heart and their soul and who they really are. And that's why it ties into what we're talking about. So this is happening on an individual level and a collective global level, which is why you see all the chaos outside. Individually, billions of people are either reevaluating their belief system, their values, their work, their relationships, their routine, their attachments, and most likely one area of your life or more have either crumbled, whether you've lost your job, a relationship, you've had to reassess your health, you've struggled with another family member, a friend, whatever it is, our realities are being shaken up so that we can look at what's no longer working, what is stuck in our lives, ways of being that we cannot bring with us into the new way of being that we're all shifting into. And we're being called to make a decision, like align with your soul, align with your heart, your highest joy, or these things will naturally crumble. And then globally, collectively, we're seeing this on a mass scale where I'd say all of the systems of the past are either restructuring, or the corruption and darkness, the shadow in these systems is being brought to the surface to be seen, whether it's the financial system, health industry, the media, politics, everything's happening right now. And it's no wonder 2020 means 2020 vision. So it looks like the world is going to chaos and it's going downhill, but actually what's happening is there's a bright light. If you can think of it as raising in consciousness, and this light is illuminating all the darkness, the shadows, the corruption, the old dense energies and beliefs that don't serve us. And they have to be seen, they have to come to the surface, they have to be purged in order to be cleared and healed. And it's the same with your own emotions. So right now there's a lot of frustration and anger and polarity, people judging each other for their beliefs, all kinds of things. And you know what I'm talking about. And that's happening for a reason. It's not about a pandemic or the election. It's much bigger. What's happening is energetic, and we're shifting into a new age. And we'll go into that more in detail in other videos. But.
Yeah. I mean, for Ashmi and I, like, we're definitely seeing all these things happening in the outer world, in this 3D world, however you view it, that we live in, and it's very engaging in a sense, because it's very hard not to get drawn into it. It's hard not to constantly be looking at it in a sense, but it also can be very destabilizing. And wherever you're at in that, you could just be head first in it, where you have no idea what's going on. You're just getting pulled left and right all over the place by what's happening in the outer world. And then some people are more aware of it, but still right in it, and like, whoa, what's happening? I'm worried about this, worried about that, bringing up fears. And wherever you're at in it is your journey. And but I think that's what Ashmi and I, with these videos, which we want to share with people, is the reason why we call it the inner awakening, is because right now the outer is kind of at the forefront, because that's the world we've lived in. That we've been taught to look out, and out here is so much great stuff, and this is where beauty is. This is where you're going to find so much joy. If you just get this, you get that, you're successful at this. So we've been indoctrinated to be outside of ourselves, and finding peace and happiness and joy and balance outside of ourselves is a very temporal thing. Like, you can find it, but it generally doesn't last long. So what Ashmi and I have both learned on our journey, before we even were aware of what was happening in the outer world with the changes that are happening now, was that regardless of what's happening in the outer world, regardless of whatever the narrative is, whatever the political systems, whatever is happening in any of the systems outside of us, the only true joy that you'll ever find that's everlasting, the only true balance, the only true peace, the only true connection to self, to love, is inside. And that's why we want to share that. Well, part of our focus will be the inner journey. We'll talk about the outer, but we always want to lead it back as much as possible anyway, when it flows and makes sense, to this inner part of ourselves, because it's the only journey we have. Like, your experience, your own internal experience, your own experience in life, when you experience something in the physical and then you get wisdom and inner standing from that, that's inside of you. Like, no one can teach you anything, in a sense. Only you can teach yourself. Only you can experience it yourself. There's no teaching that will ever teach you true wisdom. Only you can experience it. And once you experience it in your being, once you trust your inner knowing, once you trust your intuition, then that's where you'll go. And that's where what will lead you through your life. It will either bring you to information outside of yourself that will come in and just fuse into your being and just be a rock solid foundation of knowledge, or you'll just know it in your being. And that's where we want to lead people to, this trusting of self, this connection with something far greater, far more powerful. And you know, that's our drive for these videos. So that's what we hope to share.
And this is such an important topic because our whole lives, our generations before us have all been taught to focus on the outer, focus on the left brain, seek wisdom and clarity outside of you. And so now we're realizing our entire world was flipped upside down. We were told we live in a finite world. There's finite resources. There's lack. We are born with it, not born, but we get the scarcity mindset from our parents, and they get it from their parents, and it's passed down. Where it's almost impossible, unless you're really connected to yourself, to live outside of that. Because people talk about the matrix, or the conditioned program beliefs and the system we live in, but actually the matrix is within, and it's built by your belief systems, your fears, your understandings, and all of the programs that subconsciously and consciously we get downloaded, basically like a computer from the world outside. And we don't know that we're not actually thinking and feeling for ourselves, because these ways of being, this way the world is set up, has felt so natural and ingrained in our being, but it's actually the furthest from the natural organic template of the way things were supposed to be.
Sorry, well, it doesn't feel natural, but to me, like our bodies, our minds, our whole beings have been telling us this is not natural.
So it's not natural, like our bodies are telling us it's not natural, because look at the depression rate and the suicide rate and the anxiety and autism rates. It's not natural. But what I meant was we are convincing ourselves it's natural.
Yeah, it's the way it has to be.
Yeah, because I used to work in Silicon Valley. I was burnt out. Anxiety was my normal. Yeah, normal is probably a better word. And I allowed it to be my normal by continuing the hustle, pushing my body beyond what it could take. And I thought, that's the way, that's the only way. I mean, if I slow down, I'll fail, or, I'll lose my edge.
Yeah, I think that's, exactly what you're saying there. It's one of the greatest challenges now is like the awareness of these systems outside of ourselves is really raising. People are coming to understand, I think is a good word, that our financial systems aren't true to our being. Our political systems aren't true to our being for our highest capacity, our highest joy, our highest way of living. Our schooling systems, it's exactly the same thing. And their
health,
everything. Yeah, we're led to believe that this is how it is, and it can't change. But we're starting to understand that no, it can change, and it is changing, and it's going to start changing very rapidly once the understanding gets to a certain level. But this is the whole point of, I guess, of what we're saying, is that the understanding is only going to be 50% of the journey, and in a sense, we're having to do this backwards to some extent. Not for everyone, and I mean, it's probably a bit generic to say that, but the reason we have to do it backwards is because we've been drawn out first. So we look out, and we're taught to keep looking out. Look at your phone, look at the telly, look at your partner, look at the world out there. Keep going out. And this is the system they've put in place to disempower us. So first, we're going to start seeing a lot of these outer systems changing by people who are hopefully more connected to their inner, because they'll change in a way that brings us back to our inner power. But this is where the outer is going to start changing But the biggest thing for humanity to ensure that we don't end up in the same situation again where we're disempowered and we're disconnected from our greatest power, is that we have to go in and we have to connect with that magic, that beauty, that unbelievable capacity, joy, connection to something greater. Like, once connected to that, it's so empowering and so true. Like, it's not something you can even speak. Like,
it's more true and natural than anything you've ever felt.
yeah,
it's like being a child again.
Exactly. And we'll just be in the moment, just in this full trust, in full bliss, and just moving through life with this unbelievable joy, with magic just coming at us from every angle around us. Every angel, we'll just be surrounded by this absolute beauty. And that's there for all of us, just this abundance. And it's coming. And it's so hard to actually, it can be so hard and can be so challenging to see
and believe
and to even imagine, because we imagine something, we create the image of it, and then we bring it into existence, but it's coming into existence. But imagining it is also so important, because that's what we're going to create. But there's going to be so much capacity to create. And the tendency, just last thing, the tendency is to get caught in the mind of it, because that's what we've been taught, get caught in the mind of it. How's that going to work? But people won't do this, then some people will do that. And straight away we get lost. We go away from the truth of our being. We go away from the truth of our capacity and how we're naturally meant to be. Because when we're in that state of trust, when we're in that state of bliss, when they're in that state of knowing, then the world just will unfold. And connected as one, we will create magic. We'll create something so amazingly beautiful we can't even imagine it. We will imagine it, but it'll be even better. And I think that's what we've got to understand in our being, that we just have to be connecting with the trust and the knowing to allow what needs to be created, to allow what needs to come in, and to allow us to be as we're always meant to be.
And it sounds too good to be true, but we experienced a taste of it for 10 days 2 months ago, and other moments in our lives. So, a lot of the spiritual communities are talking about how we're shifting from a third dimensional way of being into the fifth dimension. And basically that just means we're raising our collective consciousness. Our bodies are actually upgrading from carbon-based to crystalline. I know it sounds crazy. And our DNA is being activated from 2 strands to 12 strands. Our pineal gland, which is calcified with fluoride in our water, is being decalcified with cleaner food and air. And there's so much going on. And we don't need to go into all of it. But all of this is raising our vibration. Basically, you have to remember, everything is just energy. Like, we see this physical world, but it's all just energy, and we're interpreting it in our own way. So the outer world is created from the inner. So once you shift your inner vibration, your outer world will literally rearrange itself to match your new
100%.
way of being, your new frequency, your new inner knowing. And the reason why people doubt this is because every day we're living from our conditioned patterns, our old self, our past self, our
fears.
We have the same thoughts running through our head every day, most of the same thoughts. So of course you're recreating and creating your reality from the same starting point.
Yep.
But there's so many examples I could share, but of people who have completely shifted their outer world, myself included, because your inner vibration and your frequency and your beliefs have changed. When you go deep and do the inner healing work, there's a lot of traumas we carry from childhood. Feeling unworthy, not good enough, not loving yourself. All of these things are reflected back to you from the world. When you feel lack, you see lack out there. When you feel not good enough, you don't allow yourself to have all the gifts that are in store for you. And you don't even allow yourself to dream big and believe it's possible. So in these 10 days, we experienced, literally felt like another dimension. Felt like a drug, although we didn't do anything. And if it didn't even feel, it felt so natural. It felt like going back to our natural, this is how humans are supposed to feel. Like, this is probably how I felt at age 5, but I don't remember. But all the tension left our body. All the thoughts rooted in doubt, lack, fear, worrying about the past or future, they seemed to just fall away into the background. Like, we couldn't even grab onto them as easily. And there was just this stillness, like the mind was quiet without even trying, without even meditating. And we were just drawn into this blissful present moment.
Yep.
And it lasted for 10 days. We had so much energy. We didn't need as much sleep. We felt clear. I woke up with energy. Like, there was no drowsy, wake up. Yeah. It was so magic. I was like, are you feeling this? Like, am I feeling it? What's happening? But it is a taste of the future. The whole energy of the planet shifting. And the more people who step into this, you have to hold it in yourself. You have to hold that frequency in yourself. And the more you anchor it in your being, the more it's, we're all one. So it's downloaded into the collective consciousness and more people can access it. And it's like a snowball effect. So it's getting easier and easier to tune into this calm and peace, especially when you're in nature or meditating. But during that time, for us, there's no doubt this is happening. It's so powerful.
I think that's
amazing.
That's, sorry to butt in on you, Bob, but that's the key. Well, one of the keys for us at the time. Like, we've had our own journey of many different experiences that have probably helped lead us to that moment. But I think it's the first time ever, probably for both of us, that we went into total trust, which means we were free from doubt. So there was no doubt in our being for that time. Like, we were just like, and I guess it's a question of doubt about what. It's kind of like we didn't have doubt about anything. We were just, but the truth of what we had no doubt about. Well, for me, the biggest one is like, okay, I'm connected to something far greater than myself, to source. And usually I've felt that before, sure, but this was so crystalline in nature. We felt it just so completely, and just in absolute trust is that I'm supported, I'm loved, there's something far greater than me that you'd have to call divine by nature at play in this world. Like, we've been taught the opposite of that, because if we tap into it, we become so much more powerful. But there's a reason why they don't want us to believe that. There's a reason why they're trying to keep us disconnected from that, because in that state of being, in a divine state of being, in a divine connected state of being, we are so powerful. And not powerful in the sense that we have power over others, but we have power in ourselves. We have power not over ourselves, but in ourselves. And we're connected to that. And our capacity to help others, to do great things in this world, to bring magic to our life and to the lives of others is so profound and so unbelievable that, of course, they haven't wanted us to be connected to that, because...
And they, as in the systems, the powers that be, that lead us.
Yeah, but people that have been trying to disconnect us and steal this power in a sense, or keep us powerless through ignorance. And but I think I'll
say something about the doubt.
Okay.
The doubt. So similar to Joel, but also you don't realize how much doubt you carry in your mental thought process, or subconscious and conscious, until you have no doubt, and then you can observe and watch. Like, there were moments that came up and it's like, normally I would really be triggered by that or worried about that, but there is just crickets. It's like, I feel so peaceful. And one big one for me is I felt more abundant than ever before, and I still do. And it's like he just quit his full-time job. During that time, he had crystal clear clarity, like I'm leaving my job of
Yep.
9 years, his corporate job. And for me, I felt this level of abundance, and not people think of abundance as money, but Bashar says abundance is being able to do what you need to do when you need to do it. And it's this state of living in total trust and surrender and flow and freedom, where everything you desire and want to do and every step towards that is provided, or you feel completely held in your life journey. So it's like, it's a no-brainer. Of course you're leaving your job. It's not aligned with your soul. Of course we're following our passion and doing this, and it's not for money. Like, of course. And it felt like we were just driving around doing errands, but even that felt so magical. It's like one of the best days ever, because we just ran into the most helpful people whenever we needed something. Like we were trying to find the best camera to get, or I don't know, there were just beautiful synchronicities and magic everywhere we went.
Every moment, yeah.
Even like, I guess because you're in that state of open-heartedness, so you start seeing life or reality as more of a lucid dream. So we were just so calm.
But it's not a dream. You're just
It's
connected
real.
to it.
Yeah.
Like you can feel in the moment more. You just feel more present with it, because you're not trying to get anywhere. You're not trying to be
There's
anything.
no rush.
You're just being, and when you're connected like that, everything changes. Like the whole experience is diametrically different. I mean, it's interesting, because to have that experience, we have to take responsibility for ourselves, and we have to be, owning our being in this life, and it's not, you don't get that experience and just hold on to it. I think part of us wanted to hold on to it.
How do we get back to that? Yeah.
But the experience just came, and it came very naturally, and
we didn't do anything.
Well,
maybe.
We were doing stuff. We were living in alignment with ourselves. We were stepping into the energy that was coming to us, and
shedding our doubts.
Yeah, and we just had such clarity from where we were moving in life. So and that's continued, but we've kind of had to come back and flesh out, some things in our beings which we need to clear to be able to step more and more into alignment with ourselves, and just to enjoy this life, And I think that's one of the things I said to Ashmi to go. I know this goes back to what we were talking about before, but from the challenges we had in doing these videos, one of the other truths that came for me is that, sure, these videos are what we want to do and what we want to share for ourselves and for whoever it helps, We hope it helps someone. That's our prayer. And we believe it will. We truly do. But the other truth that came for me was that it doesn't matter of anything that you're trying to be or do in this world. The biggest thing is just to come into your being, because you can feel joy just in breathing. You can feel absolute bliss and harmony just in breathing. And breathing is a natural thing. So you're doing it anyway. So you can just feel amazing just by being. And that's the key. That's the key. All you have to do is be. And you can feel amazing by just being. So from that point, you just be and magic will happen. The more you can just be, the magic will happen. Yep. And your life will be amazing. And I know a lot of this talk, you hear it sometimes. I know myself in my own experiences in life, I've heard people talk and just go like, that
sounds cliche.
Yeah, that just sounds crap, like, how am I going to get to that? Look at all these things that, this is happening, that's happening. I'm trying to do this. I've got to, feed the kids. My relationship with my husband's really bad. Not that I've ever had a husband, but not in this life anyway. But all these things are going on. Like, how am I ever going to get to that point of feeling amazing? How am I going to get there? But the truth is that peace, that bliss, it is always in us. It sounds cliche, but it is. And it's just a journey, and we have to own that journey. We can't be a victim to it. Can't be a victim to our circumstance. We have to own our journeys, and we have to move into them. And the more we surrender to our journey, the more we empower ourselves into it, the more we free ourselves. And the more things will flow far easier, far easier. And Ashmi and I know she wants to speak now, but Ashmi and I at some stage, I know she's already done it on her Instagram account, but at some stage we will just share our journey together and, play off that with each other to try and show people what we've experienced, and hopefully they can relate to that and they can draw something from it. And we do want to get people on who have and talk with some friends and other people about their journeys and how their life has changed diametrically by their own understanding and their own kind of flourishing from really challenging circumstances.
We have some amazing examples of how this works, this magic in the universe works. One thing I wanted to add was, yes, it is all about feeling good, but the paradox is to feel good, you also get to accept and not resist what's present for you now. And, that might be a lot of heavy emotions or tiredness or exhaustion, but that's actually part of the ascension journey, part of the journey of lifting your consciousness and shifting to a new state of being. A lot of the heavy feelings are going to come up to be purged. You might get really triggered. You might be in fear. You might be really lethargic. And that's actually really good because it's being purged, cleared, seen, heard for the first time. And in resisting it and thinking, oh, I need to be happy, I need to feel good, that's actually very counterproductive because you're suppressing all of what's bubbling up.
Takes a lot of energy.
So part of it actually is sitting with emotions. Like for me, I used to never cry because I thought I need to be strong and happy. And now it's like...
She cries all the time, and she cries for me too.
Yeah, and I feel his energy. But it feels so relieving to me. Yeah. And I know I'm healing it in myself every time I feel it and sit with it and allow myself to be. That's part of self-love. Like, don't judge yourself for how you're feeling, and don't judge yourself for when you're low or when you feel stuck. Like, it's so human. So
and that's so important, Bub. We have to bring humanity to this to our way of being. We have to bring the human side to how we communicate and how we relate, because I'm not saying that we don't, we do, but the more humanity we bring to something, the more understanding, then the more we can actually help alchemize, help the world transform, help the world raise its energy, raise the consciousness, just to feel better in its being, collectively, in our being collectively.
Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so at this point, Bob. I think that's...
We have a puppy who just woke up from the nap and probably needs to pee.
Yeah. But thanks for...
We love you.
We love you. Thanks for listening. We hope to do... We'll do many more. Yeah.
And they'll get better and better. Yay.
Thanks.
Bye.